Now that I have created the bottle, I need to create a cap and cut it out of this bottle, and so that I can have two different parts. One part is going to be the cap of this bottle, and the other part is going to be the actual bottle itself. So let's go and draw a shape to, cut this cap out of this bottle. I can draw a single line, or I can draw a complex profile for this. I select the XY plane, go to sketch environment, and now I'm going to have three different arcs in different radiuses, and put this as the cutting edge here. So let's go and select the arc tool. The first arc is going to be here. It's going to be in this point and finish here. And this is going to be small arc, so no, it's going to be a big arc like this, 30 millimeter in radius. That's okay. Now select arc tool, and again now I'm going to create another arc, and that's going to be in a small arc like this, and it's going to have about 15 millimeters of radius. So I type in 15 here, and again I need to have another arc, and that's going to be in this side. It starts here and finishes here, and it will have 15 millimeters as well as its radius. So I type in 15, and that's it. Now that I have created these two, I want to make sure that these are tangent to each other. So first of all, I need to select this endpoint and this endpoint of this middle arc, and make sure that these are coincident. So I go and add a coincidence here. Now that I have added here, I should make sure that these are tangent to each other. If I want, of course, to have tangency. This is not necessary here. I want to have this tangency, so I click on these two, and by selecting these two, I can have a tangent like this. Okay. The same is going to happen to these two parts. So I select this endpoint and this endpoint of these two arcs, and make sure that these are coincident. And again, I select the two arcs and make sure that they're tangent to each other. So I select tangency, and I can see that I have this like this. Okay, the next thing that I want to do is this. I want to make sure that this end point, this center of this arc, and I press Control button and select the other center of this second arc, are, well, let's go up, in symmetry with this vertical line. So I select the symmetry here. Now I can see that it is up here. Now I can add some more constraints. For example, I want to have this point, that means the center of this arc. Let's select the center of arc by selecting this. It's about 100 millimeters above this vertical axis. So I add a constraint by clicking on this and go up and selecting the center of this, and you can see that it is 169. It's too much. I want to make sure that this is about 100 or 110 millimeters above this shape, and that's okay. Now this is the actual profile that I want to use to create this. Now, of course, you can define this more, but that's okay. I exit my workbench. Now that I have this, I can select Extrude tool under Insert Surfaces and extrude it in both direction. For example, to 50 millimeter in one direction and 50 millimeter in the other direction. And by clicking on OK, you can see that I have this created like that. Let's open the part body and hide the sketch. I don't want to see this. By hiding the sketch, now I have a cutting element that is the extrude, and the element that is going to be cut into two halves, that's the actual trim that I have created previously. So let's go to Insert and go under Operations. I can find the Split tool. Again, it's out of my capture area, but it's under Operations. You can find it here. And the Split asks me to select the element that is going to be cut. I select this, Trim. Now it asks me what element you are going to use as cutting element. This is going to be this extrude that I just created. Now you can see that it cuts this by using the element, and of course it removes one of the parts. If you want to have both parts, you can click on this, keep both sides, and this is exactly what I'm going to do. But if you want to have one of these parts, you can select the other side and select which part you want to have. I want to have both of these. So I select this and click on OK, and I can see that I have a split 1 and a split 2. You can see that I have two different splits here. I don't want to see extrude here, so I hide this extrude. Now I select the split 3, and you can see that it is a sub-element of split 1. By selecting this, I want to use the translate tool to move it up, so I go under insert, and under operations I can find translate tool. By selecting the translate, I can tell that it is going to be in Z direction, for example, and it's going to move about 100 millimeters. So I select the preview. You can see that this is the wrong direction. It's going to be in X direction, I guess. No, it's going to be in Y direction, I guess. And that's it. I click on preview. You can see that it moves the split up, but it actually creates another object out of that. That's the translate. So I need to click on a split 3 and hide it if I don't want to see this. So I have two different shapes here. Let's zoom down, and you can see that one of the shapes is the cap, and one of the shapes is the actual bottle. And I'm going to, create some other elements to close this bottle.